Hello folks, it's Steve KI5JUF. Hope everyone's doing okay out there this morning. I made a video yesterday on RT system software and how to go in and change frequencies and so forth. I kind of made a custom layout of my repeaters when I drive from DFW out to Abilene. And I realized something yesterday. At the end of the video, I mentioned that the some of the features that I had preset in the FT991, or excuse me, in the FTM300 I, such as the APO, which is the automatic power off function, it kept getting overwritten and I didn't make the connection. And then I woke up this morning, I realize now what's been happening and did a quick dive real quick. But I wanted to tell everyone about this because if you go in and make a bunch of memory changes and build this new great file and everything, if you, depending on the settings in the software, you could overwrite any custom settings such as automatic power off, transmit timer off, and so forth. So let me show you how you get to those. So what had happened was I discovered that if you go to the settings menu and preferences, if you look at the when you select settings and if you go to the other tab, RT Systems explains exactly what happens here, and they've got a great website. And so this is what was happening. If you leave these separate in this radio box here, it handles the global settings of the radio in a set and forget fashion. So once you set these, you won't have to reset them for a new frequency or file. So I think at this section here, it'll leave the existing settings alone. But if you have it set keep together, uh, it gives you the ability to create files, and it also in this mode it begins, each file begins with the factory defaults for every option of the radio. So I think this is where my mistake was. So I'm going to change mine to use separate file for menu settings. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take advantage of this function right here. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to set the radio functions in the file, and I'm going to take advantage of that because I can go in and customize this radio real quick in software. So the same thing, same exact thing applies. This is how you upload and download the file to the SD card. Just a quick section there. Same thing on the 3D software. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to show you how to get to those menu settings. So what I do is I'm going to go in and launch the FTM300 programmer. And this so happens to be the file that I was working on yesterday. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to menu settings. Actually, let's do this first. Let's set this for preferences. And I'm going to set this keep the menu settings together. This is another box down here. Normally the radio requires you to upload the frequencies every time you do any software changes. If you uncheck this box, you can disable that feature. So I'm going to leave this here. So I'm going to keep the menu settings and frequencies in the same file. I'm going to click apply. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here and I'm going to set up some of these settings customized. Oops, went to the wrong place. Go here, radio menu settings. And I'm going to turn on the APO, which is the automatic power off, and I'm going to turn that for 2 hours. That means the radio will turn off automatically after 2 hours. All this other stuff I'm going to leave alone. This is the built-in GPS squelch level. All this looks good here. I'm not going to make any changes, but you can go through and customize this. You can do a lot of things with this APRS, group monitor settings, and so forth. I think there was one in here for, yeah, we got voice. These are some of the other features: automatic mode, transmit, auto. Um, so you can do a lot of stuff here. LCD brightness, compass, display backlit, mic keys, home. So you can do a whole bunch of stuff here. And the timeout timer, this is another one I like to set. I'm going to set that for 2 minutes. And that way, if I accidentally press the microphone key and it gets shoved down there between the seats, it will actually stop transmitting. It won't burn up the radio. I'm going to enter my call sign KI5JUF. And other than that, there was one in here for microphone gain, but I don't see it right now. But you can kind of get an idea. You've got all these different settings and so forth that you can do. Compass display. Um, so anyway, these are just a bunch of settings that are available to you. So let's see. This looks good here. Playback. Okay, so that's what this looks like. So what I'm going to do next is I've also cleaned up apply closing, yes. So now what I'm going to do is I've gone in and I've cleaned up these files here. So I've got everything kind of like I want it here. One of the things I was going to show you, one of the repeaters here in the Richardson area is a C4FM repeater, this K5RWK, this 445-725. I'm going to leave the RMS, AMS active on this one. And the reason I want to do that is because this repeater is a dual purpose repeater. But I also realized that the repeater in Abilene is also a dual purpose repeater. So I am going to click this AMS button because sometimes people will transmit in C4FM and I want my radio to be able to switch over. So that's pretty cool there. Let me do one other thing here real quick. So the other thing I did real quick here on this repeater here, I am going to fix this since it's a dual mode repeater. I'm going to add the PL tone. And the PO tone on this repeater is 110.9. And the reason I'm going to do that is that way on this 725 repeater, since it's a dual function repeater, if someone does come in, that's 110, I'm going to change that to FM. Let's see why I want that. Change that to FM, AMS. Oh, I couldn't access here, and I'll tell you why. I have to tell it tone squelch. Let's make sure that that repeater is, I'm assuming it's both directions. It doesn't say the 412 repeater. I think what we'll do here is I'm going to go back and look at the 12 repeater and see what it's doing real quick. The 12 repeater is tone only. So I'm suspecting this one is tone only also, and it's 110.19. So on this repeater here, this 444-725, that's a dual mode repeater for the K5RWK club. They don't specify, so I'm going to assume that it's tone up only because it doesn't have two different tones, so I'm just going to leave that alone. Now I'm going to change this back to C digital narrow. So what's going to happen is if the repeater gets switched from C4FM to FM, this tone will become active and I'll be able to access the repeater. So that's kind of what I'm doing there. So let's go ahead and fix this. Going to go ahead and save the file real quick. Preferences, write to SD card, and we're going to write it. That looks good there. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save my CSV file, which let's see here, I want to save it. I've already written it. Let's do save as. Nope, I got to go down here, export. So I'm going to go to export, and I'm going to export the CSV file again. And let's see here. I've got this FTM300 I. Yeah, there's the file right there. I'm going to update this one to number 10. Actually, we'll just leave it 9 because it's fine. So now I've got that corrected. So now I've got all these corrected. So stand by. Okay, I'm going to go in and I'm going to do the FTM3DR real quick, and I'm going to do the same thing on that PL tone on that one repeater. And there it is right there. I'm going to change this to tone. I'm going to change that to 110.9. So this way, again, on that 725 repeater, since it's a dual mode repeater from the K5RWK club, if someone hits it with C4FM, my radio will switch, and if someone comes in with FM, it will also switch. And same thing here on the FT3D. If you go to menu, radio menu settings, um, you can also set some of the things here. Automatic power off, I'm going to set that for 2 hours. GPS log, transmit timeout is set to 3 minutes, so that's pretty cool. That's fine. And what I'll do here is let me make one other change. I'm going to go here to preferences, and I'm going to go to the other tab, and I'm going to keep them the same. This way, whenever I change the any changes I make in the menu settings in the RT system software, it will transmit to the radio. So basically, they're pretty much the same. Let me save this file here. That's the only change I made, was that tone right there. And the other thing I will show you is on the FT991A. It's a little different when you go to download it. I think it actually gives you an option to go in there and not make any menu changes. But what I did yesterday is I added my quick memory bank locations, which is on the RCO stow button. If you press that, it will toggle through these different frequencies here. So that's what's called the quick memory banks. Same thing here, preferences. Again, if you want to keep all the files together, you can. One thing I'll show you is on this software here, if you look here, this is all, a lot of these menu settings are actually menu settings that you have in the radio. So let's see here. Yeah. So you have, like, for example, these are the mode settings, and what you have down here is you can actually customize those uh, function buttons on the display where it says F1, F2, and F3, where you have meter, power, squelch. You can select any mode. So if you're in the AM mode, I can select meter, RF, power, mic gain, and sweep. If I'm in, and if I wanted to change that, I might want to change that to let's see, what else could I change that to? Noise blanker, for example. FM, I have home. Let's see, what do I have here? Let me fix this. This will be meter. Squelch. Let's see, RF power. We'll put RF power here. It's POW is what I'm looking for. Well, you can see how you can go through and change this. Don't know why I can't find power, right? There's RF power. And then you can have, this one can be squelch, for example. And this one here can be, you can make this one, you can have this one memory channel. I like to put this one as memory channel. That way, if you're not in memory channel mode, you can easily get there, and then you can get right back onto the memory dial, MCH. There it is right there. And you can fix all these C4FM. Same thing here. I'll put memory channel. So you can set these up any way you want to, and depending on the mode you're in, for example, AM, though, these four will populate and so forth. Operating mode, these are a lot of the different settings you can have here. Group monitor, common files, mic scan, timeout transmitter. I'm going to set that for 3 minutes. That way, if the transmitter gets stuck, a cat falls asleep on it or something, you're good to go. And these are some of your color schemes and so forth that you can pick. I think there's one in here for waterfall and things like that. But anyway, that's the program, and I'm going to go ahead and save this. So that's how you do it. And like I said, when you get ready to transmit, there's going to be an option to transfer the menu. So anyway, hope that helps. Thanks a lot.